Zacras. Then afterwards, we'll have our questions.
Thank you so much, Director of Ceremonies. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Maskati, Maswera Shakanaka. It's pretty difficult to present in the afternoon when people are a bit fully charged and ready to talk to ancestors. So I'll try to be as vibrant as possible. Interactiveness, so that I'm called Syrianti. And I'm going to what does Zacras stand for? It's the Zimbabwe Association for Community Radio Stations. My name is Sandra Mazunga, the National Coordinator for Zacras. TV, an association for not only licensed community radio stations, but community radio initiatives. These are community radios in communities that are yet to be licensed. Once again, all protocol observed, and good afternoon, everyone. So my presentation mainly focuses on where are we as community radio stations. I'm glad earlier on, Dr. Paradza cited quite a number of examples regarding community radio stations. I was very impressed, and I said to myself, wow, the ministry is talking about us and we are here today. It shows the value that the ministry has in terms of community radio stations. We feed into the 3 broadcasting tier system. So where do we stand? We are all aware we have 14 licensed community radio stations. But the question we should ask ourselves as we plan this strategic plan is, are they ready? Do they have enough to educate, entertain, and inform the marginalized communities? Zacras carried out an internal assessment, and we found out quite a number of things. Operating challenges that these community radio stations are facing. We are all aware Zimbabwe is going through a lot when it comes to electricity. And when we speak about this, we have community radio stations that are on air. Do they have the solar power backup? We have community radio stations that have volunteers. In fact, all of them work with volunteers, meaning that they are not, we have ZOCC here. It means that they are not paid. These volunteers are at community radio station. And there's high volunteer turnover. What about their programming? I'm glad Buzz is here today. They've assisted in quite a number of capacity strengthening of community radio stations. But is it enough given the high staff turnover? We want our community radio stations to operate in full capacity so that they're able to provide communities with access to information, especially in local languages, and which is local content. But when we look at infrastructure, out of the 14, there's 1 community radio station in Bembesi, Ingana. You forgive me for my pronunciation. This community radio station is right in Bembesi. It's playing music. There's no content there. It means that community is being deprived of information. What is the reason? They do not have infrastructure. There is just a system on a table, in fact on a plastic shade. No studio equipment, no acoustics. We appreciate the role the ministry played when Zacras acquired radio equipment, radio studios, 8 of them, for these 14 licensed community radio stations. We managed to get duty waiver for those 8. However, there is need for us to put our heads together with BUZZ, with Transmedia, and the ministry to ensure that all 14 have enough infrastructure to go on air. Transmitters. I'm glad Transmedia has purchased transmitters to ensure that community radio stations can broadcast more than 3 or so kilometers, but we still have challenges. We've managed to engage Econet in terms of having the transmitters being put on the Econet boosters, but we have challenges. Econet does not take brick and mortar for shelters. These have to be done specifically according to their specifications. You are looking at more than 2.5 for a shelter for these transmitters. We'll give you an example, Mtepe Manama case. I think I was speaking to the CEO, Bas, last week. Mtepe Manama is a community radio station, but Tel One expects this community to pay $250 a month just for holding, or in fact for renting out space on a Portras tower. That if you've all been to Gwanda, you'll know the booster that's by the clinic. And they expect a community radio to pay $250 a month just for us to rent out that space. Where is the community rootedness? I hope Portras is here so that we can put our heads together and discuss this matter. May the ministry assist us in arranging Tel One so that they know that this is a community radio station. They cannot even afford to pay volunteers, let alone pay $250 just to rent out space on the transmitter, on the booster. The legal framework. We appreciate the coming in of the SI on advertising, but more needs to be done. Consider, with BAS together, reducing licensing, monthly and annual fees. I know this will be introduced soon, but please let's consider, can our communities afford, given the issues surrounding sustainability? Then our expectations as Zacras. When is the next call for licensing of new community radio stations? And who are you targeting? Will it be the community of interest or geographical? And when we speak of geographical, Midlands has no community radio station that is licensed. We also are expecting volunteer support from the ministry. Let's have incentives for these volunteers. These are our foot soldiers who provide content for these communities. Let's collaborate for trainings. We appreciate the role that BAS has played over the past few months or years. However, more needs to be done because of the high volume of staff turnover in terms of the volunteers at these stations. Can we collaborate to ensure that we understand that people love our citizen journalists or our community broadcasters, and BAS has taken almost all of them in all these communities. Let's replace them by training them again. Funding for community radio stations. Radio is a business. Let's assist each other in raising awareness. Earlier on, Dr. Paradza spoke about advertising, and he said local businesses do not have the appreciation yet. So it means a lot has to be done in terms of ensuring that the local business or the business community is aware of advertising and sponsorship in terms of advertising. Another appeal coming from community radio stations, the broadcasting fund. Where are we? Can we also chip in? We also understand that ZBC collects radio licenses, but there are areas where, especially if you go to KZ, you cannot get any broadcasting from the national broadcaster, but we have a community radio station there, by it. Is it benefiting from all these radio licenses, radio licensing? Can we chip into that as community radio stations? Now that we have community radio stations coming in on board, radio licensing, can it also be part of community radios? Security of equipment. I had the opportunity to go around the country. Our equipment is not secure, but from my understanding, broadcasting equipment is sensitive, but anyone can walk in at these stations. Can we ensure that the security of our studios is prioritized by the ministry? Because anyone can walk in and start broadcasting. Finally, collaborations. For Zacras, we expect more in terms of collaborating. We did a draft MOU a while back, and we want to ensure that we work together. A multi-sectoral approach, especially drawing lessons from the first call of the 14 licensed community radio stations. Can we also assist each other to ensure communities embrace community radios so that there is community ownership? Zacras will be conducting a sustainability research very soon with support from UNESCO, and our main deliverable will be a continuous improvement community radio toolkit, which will also have a monitoring mechanism. Let's work together on this and ensure we draw lessons that will also advise in the next call. This research will also show you best practices that will also assist for future programming. I think with these few, I thank you for listening.
Thank you for that clear presentation. You can tell you are talking to a broadcaster. A round of applause to Zacras. Right, good. There was a request from Tonel Rutsito. He's from the Zimbabwe online content creators. So the previous two presentations relate to them. So we are going to give him an opportunity to also come and present before we discuss these issues. Tonel, can you please come to the front? A round of applause as they come. Zim Online content creators. He's going to give us the correct name in the abbreviation. Tonel.
Thank you. Much appreciated. It's Zimbabwe Online Content Creators. We are abbreviated as ZOCC, ZOCC. So that's the association that I represent. Thank you. Once more again, I do thank you so much for the invitation to us as an association for all online content creators in Zimbabwe. We do appreciate such a platform because it is the only space that then helps us to be heard clearly as far as our agendas and our issues are concerned. So we are very much thankful. I think just like the old adage says, anything that is done for us without us, it's got nothing really to do for us. So we don't take this opportunity lightly because we are here to engage and air our issues so that at least we are at the same level as far as our various operations are concerned. Allow me to just jump a little bit into exactly who we are because I will not waste much time on most of these issues that honestly have been spoken about from my various colleagues there. I promise you I will not be like Malvin who said that he's got nothing else to say yet, 3 pages to speak about various issues. But I think from the morning, most of these are topical issues that we are here for, that we represent, and that we face each and every single day. I think they've been said and they've been spoken about in detail. So what I'll just do is I'll just brush through, then I'll just give you a bit of our perspective as far as certain issues are concerned. But I think more importantly, just allow me to take this opportunity to just quickly introduce our organization that I represent here, which is ZOCC. Zimbabwe Online Content Creators was established now 5 years. And this is an association of only, and I repeat, only credible, ethical, and professional online content creators. We do understand that our space is filled up with many various players as far as the digital space is concerned here in Zimbabwe. Almost everyone who has got a smartphone or a digital platform can become an online content creator. But we only represent certain members who do abide to ethics and code of conduct as far as our membership is concerned. We do have our own digital code of conduct that we've done exclusively after consultation with the Voluntary Media Council of Zimbabwe. So our members are those that subscribe to journalism and content creation ethics as far as their work is concerned. As it stands, we are now on 254 membership across the whole country. These are the members that are part and parcel of the association. ZOCC has got 5 chapters across the country. We've got the northern chapter, which is not part of Zimbabwe, the southern parts, the lower parts, the eastern, which is where we are. We've got the central, which is your Kwepe, and then we've got Kwepe, Midlands, in that area, we just call it central. And then we have got the Harare. I do not know why we've all agreed that it can't be part of other chapters, but I think mainly because of the numbers and the representation, we thought we to divide it in that way. So that's why the composition is concerned within ourselves. We do have a board of trustees and also a secretariat that runs from the president, the vice president, the spokesperson, treasury, committee members, etc., like that. I represent the association from the board of trustees as the chairperson of that association. The executive gets its term, its 3-year term, whereby we do all the elections as far as our community certifications are concerned. Right, I think that's basically about us. Our vision as an online content creator is to strengthen and professionalize the sector, because we're coming from a very serious background whereby mainly the traditional media houses have always had issues with the digital platform, specifically within the last years, especially within the early years of establishment, mainly because of issues of lack of credibility, professionalism, and especially the scourge of misinformation, fake news, issues of disinformation, and just random people posting content that they cannot confirm. And I know the impact of such content, what it does to the national fabric, and more importantly, so what it does to the journalism industry. So we have to come to and form an association that then represents people who are ethical, credible, as far as this craft is concerned. I think also the biggest problem now is not just the misinformation and the fake news that we're facing. We're now living in the age of the artificial intelligence, specifically with the latest technology that we're facing here. There's a lot of content that many of you cannot even be able to distinguish whether or not this content is real or is not real. We are now living in the age of artificial intelligence with things like deepfakes. At times you see a picture, a photograph, or even a video that you can't even prove whether or not it's false. You can have a picture or a video of an honorable member of parliament or presidential or executive saying statements that is never uttered, and these messages are now put into the social media, and you can't even prove or understand whether or not this is fake or it was not fake. So these are the things that we have to deal with each and every single now, because we're digital natives by creation. All our work is done and put online, but we have to find a way to see how best we then sanitize this sector as far as digital online content creators. So these are the issues that we're always facing, and we need to find the best way of dealing with them. We do appreciate our past engagement and the progress that we've been making as online content creators, specifically with the Ministry of Information and also the Zimbabwe Media Commission. We've done plenty workshops back and forth for our members, outside our members, and also within the sector. I think the last one that we had was in Kadoma, a very progressive one, when we were discussing key issues of co-regulation and self-regulation. I know it was a very long one. I would have wanted the pace to be just discuss one or two things over the issues that we may have spoken about during that seminar. But those were key issues to see how best we then move forward as a sector. Issues of co-regulation was one of the top issues that we also spoke about, and we agreed on a way forward to see how best we then regulate. Of course, us as far as online content creators, we've always been pushing and driving towards issues of self-regulating and seeing how best we can move on, especially without any violation of our rights as far as our creative skills are concerned. And we are also undertaking a process of self-organizing and finding each other towards professionalization and ethical content creation. I think this is very key in as far as our own internal houses of trying to sanitize and make sure that within the digital space there's a bit of sanity and order. We have managed to also enroll on various programs. One of these achievements that we celebrate to date is we managed also to put up a self-regulating body that then looks into issues. Should there be any other complaint within the sector, we are also taking care in dealing with those issues, because we understand that there are many media complaints that come through. Before anyone else goes to maybe to VMCZ or even to institute a legal challenge against or a lawsuit against any one of our members, we also do have our own internal mechanism that says how best we correct and make sure that we remain professional as far as our craft is concerned. So these are the issues that we're dealing with each and every single day as we try to sanitize the sector, the digital space specifically, because we are all media practitioners and content creators And we know and appreciate the fact that we've got many people who come online each and every single day to try and consume our content. And this has to be as pure as it can be so that we do not poison our readership from the content that we're always disseminating. Let me just speak of issues of stakeholders and equity that we need to also deal with. The Zimbabwe Union of Journalists and the Zimbabwe Online Content Creators are the biggest media association in terms of subscribers as far as the Zimbabwe space is concerned. I think we have a responsibility to continuously make sure that we defend and we take charge of the sector as far as the media sector is concerned. I would have loved to speak to my commissioner. Unfortunately, he left. I think as far as issues of regulation is concerned, we do have a serious challenge within the media. So half the times we are asked that there are certain journalists or media practitioners that are accredited who are posting and distributing information that many people will not probably agree with, or it's not factual, it's fake, it's misinformation. And we are supposed to be then answerable to certain people that we honestly don't even know. So we are also trying to see and push in terms of regulation and statutory acts. We would have loved the situation whereby these media, these associations, the Zimbabwe Union of Journalists and us as well, since we are responsible, especially for the representation of the various journalists and media practitioners, I think we do have a step that I would have suggested within the Media Commission that we should be able to actually verify and do our own internal checking before the Zimbabwe Media Commission just accredits. So we've noticed that many people, they just wake up with the Zimbabwe Media Commission card. We don't know these people ourselves as various associations. We are not even responsible about who they are and what they do. But they do have a Media Commission card. And they claim to be our members, which you don't even know. And they do not abide to the same ethics that we're always clamoring for. And then we cannot be responsible over membership we don't even know and understand. So I would have suggested a reverse way of doing things. Why is it the associations are not actually allowed to do an internal vetting process that says, surely XYZ is a bona fide media practitioner, online content creator, and then the ZMC gets a recommendation or form of a letter from us as the various media practitioners, because they do not do any form of vetting whatsoever. I think at most what they do is just accept the registration fee, your passport photos, credentials you've written before, and then that's it. And someone is a journalist. I'm sure my fellow colleague, they can actually refer to these issues. Then when there is chaos and there are issues where we're supposed to be answerable as far as the media sector is concerned, then we need to be we are demanded to be responding to those issues that we honestly do not know or understand. So those are just some suggestions that I felt we should just also proffer to see how best we can try and sanitize the sector. Also, there's an issue of where we felt that strongly there's a bit of disparity between specifically the Ministry of Information and the online content creators and certain media houses. We still have this lineage towards state-owned and public broadcasters, whereby national messaging is not specifically chosen to be disseminated by certain online content creators. You'll see that maybe the government is more happier to send a certain narrative or a messaging via traditional media houses because they are maybe old friends. But we're saying that as far as the digital space is concerned, we are running more than 80% of this space. When it comes to critical key national information and messaging, we do not see the same messaging running across online content creators. It's not because these people or these members, they do not want to be involved. But I think there's not this kind of a report that says, dear online content creators, you're going to be running across with this kind of a messaging. So half the time, online content creators, they've been reduced into nothing but spectators. They are not part and parcel of this whole conservative process. And they don't even understand exactly why the Ministry of Information decided to choose, or the Ministry of Tourism decided to choose Enzo Aisha, and they're running with a song record, Zimbo, Uriko, and stuff like that. So when all hell breaks loose on the internet, we also don't even have a say when understanding, because it's something that they've already done without us, and we're not part of the whole engagement. And half the time, you don't even understand the scope and the thinking of whatsoever that's happening. And we can't then be responsible in even defending or understanding the scope of that issue. So there is no rapport as far as the national messaging is concerned. And we have seen this, I think traditionally, there's always an ease to say if there's going to be a certain national messaging, it's only going to be going to traditional radios, print media houses, certain traditional non-radio stations. And you don't see this messaging going to the digital platforms. But we're seeing how many Zimbabweans are not on these same digital platforms, and how many are being engaged and involved as far as the national messaging is concerned. So we really feel that this is a very key area where we are not having that kind of a rapport. Zimbabwe right now has got the Miss Tourism. She's a contestant, and to your shock, the only thing that she needs to qualify is a digital vote. I have not seen any single government official that's saying this is the link that you're going to be using to promote Miss Zimbabwe so that she qualifies. But we've got 180 online content creators and media houses who are busy spreading other news and messaging, and none of them have been engaged to say, okay guys, at least for just 1 week, it's only 4 days to go, let's promote Miss Zimbabwe. Can we at least share this link, and we just advocate the message that says, just register and subscribe and support Miss Zimbabwe. We don't have that communication. If I'm not mistaken, there are only about 3 days left. But these are the digital natives that are always on the digital platforms. If you ask them right now, they're busy talking about other things that do not even help anyone, especially the national cause. So I'm saying this strong disconnection when it comes to certain key national issues. Anyway, we are late for about 3 days. The only thing that it checks is a simple messaging and a drive to these various online content creators that says, at least for the next 2-3 days, can you please just go online and vote? This is the way. We don't see this messaging, but maybe the messaging is there, it's in the newspaper. But who votes through a newspaper? No offense to our traditional media houses in the newspapers, but we all know that you can't click or do any digital action as far as the print is concerned, even the radio. Because the link is a digital link. It's supposed to be sent out, and then people actually do an action. There's a call to action and a reaction to it as far as making the votes count. So those are certain key issues that I thought maybe we could have done and utilized at these various digital platforms that are there, as far as pushing key national agendas. I'm trying to now run down so that I don't speak about into that those other issues that have been spoken to already. In terms of support and sustenance issues, I think it is the plea of all online content creators, specifically the young and upcoming media houses that we've got here online. We have seen traditional, if there's going to be any government statement, including even the corporate world as well, I know you can't limit them or make them do anything in terms of statutory issues, but we are yet to see any public statement that is going to be broadcast or printed in any online platform. Be it a national update, or maybe it's a Zacras or it's a bank advertising, you always see that the traditional players have always been your traditional media houses. I think we have found as a nation to move forward from the current systems to then appreciate these various platforms. I've always said that it doesn't really make sense for any advertiser or even an information officer to continuously reach out to the 10 or 20% market share when you know that there's an 80% digital market share that you're not talking to. But because you've been doing this traditionally over years, there is not that change and that quick rapport to say how best we then support. Because we cannot only be there to just disseminate and share that information, but where is that rapport so that says when there are going to be adverts and also issues that sustain these various online content creators, what are we doing as well to also make sure that we are supporting them? But we don't see this too many times. They are only needed maybe when there's certain key messaging that needs to be done as far as positioning, setting in a certain way. But these platforms, they seem to be absent when it comes to also issues of just basic sustenance. As I just run down, I honestly feel that there is a lot that we can do. It's not too late. There is much that should be done specifically to see how best we can support these online content creators. Half of these players are just digital platforms who are running very big platforms, but they do not even have a budget to do simple basic issues. For example, Parliament is opening. You are told that for you to be attending the Parliament, only people who are going to be traveling in parliamentary vehicles or members of Parliament vehicles are the ones that are going to be attending the parliamentary session. Automatically, there's a closure towards online content creators. They come back to us as an association. How best do you cover a parliamentary proceeding when you're not even allowed to go there because only people who are going to be traveling using a member of Parliament bus or parliamentary cars are the only ones that are legal to be covered. So already there's a disassociation and there's a disengagement as far as speaking to these various online content creators is concerned. They can't be there because technically the rules are not even allowing them to become part and parcel of what is already happening. I think one of the issues that I would have made a request was an issue of the licensing towards online content creators. Media houses, they pay a certain amount to be registered within the Zimbabwe Media Commission. Fortunately, Executive Secretary is left. You cannot expect the same amount to be charged by various online content creators that Zimbabwe is also paying. We are not at par. So if Zimbabwe is paying or can pay maybe $20,000 a year or 10 years, or whatsoever period for them to register, and okay, I'm landing soon. You can't then expect the same to be charged to various upcoming online content creators. So there's a serious disparity there, which we probably feel that maybe there needs to be a bit of a consideration as far as the digital spaces are concerned. Last but not least, issues of my heart. We would want to see how best we can take care of these online platforms. We've got many students who are practicing journalism, and we also understand that there is no issue of employment. 90% of these guys and these players, they cannot be employed anywhere else. I would have suggested maybe a hub whereby all these upcoming, should they be even journalism students or even freelancers, they can find a place where they can easily practice journalism. A small, simple, standard room where we can just call it up, where journalists can come in, get their stories done, get equipment, get electricity, get a simple chair and a camera, and they can practice their various journalism as far as the craft is concerned. I think for me, those are the issues that I would have wanted to speak. I can see at the EDS of this microphone on, but I managed to just pass through, and I hope those issues are very clear. But those are issues from our heart, and we would have really wanted to see them being addressed as we continuously want to also play our part. Online content creators are ethical, credible, and professional players. We do have a mandate to make sure that we inform correctly and also positively as far as our national discourse is concerned. So I do thank you so much for the short time that you've given me, and I hope it has been
Thank you so much, Donna.
Zanzi ZOCC, Zimbabwe Online Content Creators. Just a minute. Ms. Tole, can you come to the front?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, but I know it will be okay. So I'm kindly asking you to maybe let's start by appreciating our ED.
Let's speak. So that's why I appreciate that ED. So we'll do it standing, but I will demonstrate how we do the appreciation. I have been attending this other workshop. I didn't have the way they would do.